Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reganelite's Watch Along episode 92 of this series. We are 8. Let me make sure I get my fingers right. We are 8. Wait, is that right? That's 8. I can count, right? 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8 episodes away from 100 of this series, guys. 100 of this series. No dying now, Thomas. Thomas there. Oh dear. Oh dear. What is wrong with me today? You know what? It's actually my own fault, to be fair, because I went out for the walk. I went out for a walk today, guys, at about quite late, about 2:30, and I didn't wear a heavy jacket and I didn't wear a jumper. That was not very smart. So I wore a light jacket and a shirt and another shirt underneath, and it started hailstorming, and it was just like, yeah, that wasn't very good. So I was very, very chilly. Somehow I didn't develop hypothermia or anything like that, but yeah, that wasn't very ideal there of me. But for those who are new to this series of this live stream, I want to know what this is all about. This is what I call Watch Along series, Watch Along, where we watch along and watch and react to certain clips online. So it's a bit random, sort of. Sometimes it's on one specific topic. Sometimes it can be random, different topics. So obviously the main one, of course, is the Iran war, because there's lots of discussions, lots of different viewpoints on that as well. Got a section of different clips from in the UK, from UK politicians and whatnot. We can gonna get there as well as a couple on Trump and a couple in America as well. So we'll see how long that goes there, guys. I am somewhere in the South Iberian Peninsula, says Jow. I will respond to your email. I just haven't had a chance to respond to it, my friend. If you did send me one, I think you did send me one. I just haven't had a chance to respond. Again, too much stuff to do today, guys. The wrestling content I've had to deal with in the past 48 hours has been off the scales. It's insane, and it's not going to calm down for. I don't know when it's going to calm down. Let me put it that way. So I'm trying to manage it, guys. So yeah, as much as I want to do main videos, I just ain't got time for them, guys. I'm really, really sorry, guys. I'm really, really sorry for that. But let's see who's here in the chat. We are live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv for. Twitch.tv/Reganelite1. So if you're on Twitch, feel free to say hello. If you have a Twitch account, feel free to follow on there as well, guys. So let's see who we got in the chat. We see Jow there, one of our moderators there. Guys, check out his YouTube channel if you get a chance to as well. See Billy Kershaw is there. He's got himself a beer in hand from the looks of it there. Enjoy your beer, Billy. Good to see you there. Mel is there, of course. Oh, good to see you, Mel. Hope you are doing well, taking care of all the ducks indeed. We have our doctor in the house, in Doc Davis. Good to see you there, Doc. Hope you are doing well as well. We have flying the flag for Wales, of course, is Sarah Davis in the chat. Good to see you there, Sarah. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for being here this evening. Weebud, good to see you there as well. Hope you are doing well. And Ellie, I can see, is there. Good to see you, Ellie. Hope you are doing well. One of our newest moderators there. Good to see you as well. Right, so where are we going to start, guys? Let's start somewhere a little bit different. Now, we always seem to start with the Iran war. I want to throw over a couple of random clips, actually, before we go to the Iran war, because that one's always going to dominate the conversations there. Mr. Silius on Twitch, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. And Mr. Miles on Twitch there. Hello to both of you. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for watching on Twitch TV. Appreciate it very, very much indeed. Right, so we're going to start here start in the UK, guys. I wanted to share this really, really powerful clip here, emphasizing like the issue with around the oil and gas fields in the Rosebank, and why it is completely and totally pointless of us extracting more from them there. And Caroline makes a really valid point with this. I just want to make sure I've got the right clip there. I think I've got the right. Yeah, so I've got the right screen there, because it's quite a big clip. Why is it so big? Hold on. I'm going to just tweak it slightly, guys. I normally have like a lots of different screens for when a clip is bigger than it should be. There we go. That should be a little bit better for you guys. Let me just do that. So this one here on Caroline Lucas. Thank you to Implausible Blogs. They're great. It's a great Twitter account. If you do have Twitter or X, I do recommend following them. They could get some great clips. They also have a YouTube channel as well, Implausible Blog. Some good stuff here. So Caroline Lucas here, former Green Green MP. I really do hope she does comes back into being an MP again, because I think she was an absolutely knight in shining armor during the Conservative period there. Here she is talking about the oil and gas in the north here, guys. And if there's any issues with the volumes, do let me know, guys, as well. If it's too loud or too low, just wanting to be aware of that as well.
And the idea that drilling in the North Sea is going to get prices down is for the birds, and we know that. And even Claire Coutinho has said that, the Tory energy minister.
Is it about jobs too?
Well, let me just finish on the money first, just to say that that simply there isn't enough oil and gas left in our part of the North Sea to bring prices down. If it gets extracted, then it's sold on international markets to the highest bidder. So it does nothing for energy security either. And on the jobs issue, we absolutely need a properly funded transition for oil and gas workers. But the idea that more oil and gas extraction, drilling new fields and so forth, is going to create loads of jobs is just not true. Even in the last 14 years, when there have been many new licenses handed out, we've seen a retraction of the number of jobs in the North Sea because it's a declining basin. Most of the oil and gas has already gone.
Now, there was a counter argument, and we saw, I think it was last week, we saw an interesting analysis piece from Slam Coates with regards to oil and gas and whether or not there's actually more there if we actually did more exploration. If we reduced taxations on oil and gas companies, if we gave them more leverage, would they be able to find more oil and gas if we gave them to? And I also think the answer is yes, if we actually gave that to them. If we actually reduce the sanctions, reduce the amount of taxes that were put on oil and gas companies, they probably could find more oil and gas around the UK. They probably could. But do I want more found? Probably not. Because there's this argument of, well, if we have our own, then we're self-sustaining. Well, as Caroline just pointed out, and this is the thing, people really need to understand this, is that the oil and gas, but the Rosebank, of course, which is actually Scottish, not British, by the way, because my Scottish viewers tell me off for not reminding people of that. That up there doesn't even contribute towards doing anything towards our energy situation. It doesn't reduce our energy. Doesn't do anything to make our lives better in any way, shape, or form. All that resources goes onto the global market. It's a stark contrast to Norway, which made the comparison at Prime Minister's Questions by Kemi. There's no point making that comparison. As I said at PMQs, there's just no point making that comparison. It's just not going to make logical sense, because what is the point of us? Let's say hypothetically, right? We did this, right? Let's say we reduced we reduced taxes on oil and gas companies. We give incentives for oil and gas companies to find more oil, find more gas, right, in and around the UK. Right? Let's say hypothetically we did that, right? Yeah, and let's say they found they did, and then over the next several years, obviously they start setting up their oil fields and whatnot and everything. Then they need to produce it, right? As Caroline pointed out, first of all, it's not going to increase jobs, because as time goes on, it's less of manual work and more of automation. Because why get an oil worker to do it when you can get automation to do the drilling for you instead? See, it's more automation than it is for workers there. So that's the first thing. So in terms of creating jobs, that's nonsense, yeah, for the oil and gas companies. And then secondly, of course, is that for all this, it doesn't actually benefit us in any way, shape, or form. I mean, yes, it will help the petrodollar, it'll help the global market, but it's not going to help us specifically. So it doesn't, and also it does damage to the environment, and it also goes against our climate targets as well. So the question I have to people who actually think that it's a good thing for us to consider drilling and whatnot more, what's the benefit? What is the benefit of it? Because if it's not even going into our economy, what is the point of drill, baby, drill, if we're not even taking any of the profits that these oil and gas companies make off it? Where is the benefit in any of it at all? Well, more source of oil, a lower world price, and would create some jobs, said Mr. Silius. It depends on if you want to go national or free market way. For free market, it would be good for the UK, a bit better, but not much. See, I personally, right, I don't want us to do any more than what we're already doing. But if it was up to me, what I would personally do is I would nationalise these oil and gas companies. I would nationalise it. I would have a great British company. The state would own these, right? And then what we would give a percentage of it would go onto the global market, and the rest we would get, the rest of the money from it would go back to us, go back to our economy. That's what I would do personally. You know, someone tried to make the analysis that in the 1980s, 1990s or something, that was a time when we were the fourth or fifth. Yes, it was Sam Coates' Sky News analysis. It was like we were like the fifth largest in the world when it comes to oil and gas. But obviously, the what we got here is not as much as we used to now. But that can change if we allowed those levies and allowed them to drill more there. Let alone the look, what's Pagan saying? We'd have to renationalise the oil and gas companies like Norway to get any benefits, and that is just too probability expensive to do. The right to not understand at this economic point, let alone the environmental ones. Yeah, and I literally just mentioned the renationalising there. You know, because I generally believe, like, I don't like the fact that that we don't get anything for these oil and gas companies who are making money out of these fields. It pisses me off. We should be getting at least over half the half the profits, over half of revenue should be going to us, and the rest goes to the company. We should be getting at least 51%, at least, because they're drilling in our territory. Personally, but that's not how it works, unfortunately, for us.
So the best way to support jobs into the future is precisely by really reinvesting in renewable energies, in the battery technologies and in the interconnectors and all of those things that can get us off our dependence on fossil fuels.
How would you feel if we had a state, see, we have Great British Energy, right? But it's not technically, it's not, there is some privatisation within it. But I wonder how people would feel if we had a state-owned solar company, a state-owned wind farm company, in some way, shape or form. I wonder how people would feel if we had that. Yeah, because we have a lot of private companies there doing this stuff. I wonder how we would feel if they were state-owned. Thatcher sold off the oil to private companies in the 80s. Look where that's gotten us. Since running pagan. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah, I figured as much from your stance. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, here's the thing, right? If we could do it without damaging the environment, I would be more inclined to it. But the thing is that there's too much environmental damage here to doing more of it. And as I mentioned at Prime Minister's questions, Norway are much more environmentally friendly when it comes to oil and gas than any other company, because they have cleaner ways of doing it, because they've been doing it for a long time as well. They're much better at it. It's a weird thing to say, but yeah, they're the best at it.
Tom, does Caroline have a point?
This issue of somehow that this is going to give us energy security, it is not, because whatever we get out of the North Sea is sold on international markets to global bidders at that price. It doesn't come to the UK. And the idea as well that somehow there's something more environmentally friendly about having our own extraction rather than imports. Most of our imports of gas come from Norway by pipeline, which is cleaner than what we're doing here.
So yes, and as you just pointed out there, obviously it's a lot cleaner, and we have pipelines going from Norway to here as well. And I do get this argument of if we control our own oil and gas, but the thing is that, well, are you prepared to take these companies and renationalise oil and gas companies? And if the answer is no, then my response to you is that, well, then what's the point of us approving more if it's not even going to benefit us? Yeah, but it's going to make the global markets better. Yeah, but we're not. We want to bring our energy bills down. You know, so isn't the UK supposed to be a priority? Like, see, all the right wingers, right? They care about sovereignty and putting Britain first and all that. Wouldn't they want that if it meant if it actually directly reduces our energy? No, you can't win with some of these people anyway. Privatisation of our national resources and public service didn't do us any good. It did not work. Absolutely, Pagan. Did not work. It did not work. Privatisation does not need to be done on a large scale, says Jow. Mind you, though, if we switched off the petrodollar in the UK, we'd probably get invaded or by the US or some kind of military coup, knowing them.
So I just think there is so much misinformation out there. We need to be very clear that there are people with vested interests from the fossil fuel companies who, of course, are saying we need to double down on more and more oil and gas. But I come back to the fact we have a climate crisis. Just yesterday, there was a new report out about just how serious that crisis is, that the world is heating up even faster than scientists expected, at the same time as we know that investing in renewables is better for people's bills and it's better in terms of security.
Yeah, and I think this is a very good argument point there from Caroline Lucas there. Multi-apices here made contracts with private contractors keep infrastructure up to par, and those contracts have absolute control of the sorry, I can't say that word, Jow, but yeah, what your government with respect in Portugal has is safeguards. You make sure that there are safeguards in place so that if private companies want to work in Portugal and obviously want to do business in Portugal and try to make money off it, they obviously the number one priority is obviously they have to have a standard and they have to keep to certain things. If they do, then obviously it benefits them and it benefits their government, it benefits people and whatnot. We don't have as stronger safeguards here in the UK, and I think you kind of gathered that here as well. There. Okay, like I said, we're going to be going through a variety of different clips. This is probably the most, this one's probably going to lead me to probably swear, because callers like these, I don't know if they're as serious or if this is just someone looking to rile people up. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this caller who calls in is probably not real here. So this is from Tom Swalbick here. There are times where he says some good things, and there are times where he's just totally off the ball here. So this from LBC here. You bring in £230,000 a year, and you want benefits, yeah? Okay, so get this right. This caller, okay, is earning £230,000 a year, okay? Okay, I'm based on my income from here on YouTube, which you guys help me support financially, and on my wrestling page as well. I don't even hit the minimum wage here in the UK, and I'm not claiming any entitlements. And here's this guy on £230,000 a year who wants benefits as well. Let's just listen to this, guys.
Sorry, how much?
150 grand a year. My partner's on about 80 grand a year. No,
Wow.
It's not congratulations. I live in London. I feel poor. I'm not from a rich family. You go into a...
Already, before we even go any further, what did he just say? I feel poor. And the reaction from Tom says it all, because he just literally just put his pen down. It's like, he's got this, for fuck's sake. What do you mean you feel poor? You're on £230,000 a year. How the fuck can you feel poor on such a huge amount of money? Is it because you don't go on enough holidays? Like, talk about being a greedy fucking person here.
Waitrose these days, and you literally spend 50 quid on just getting a meal. I had to cancel my gym membership.
Oh no! You had to cancel your gym membership. Really? On that? Yeah, okay, sure. You had to cancel your gym membership. Well, luckily for you, there's this thing called YouTube. And if you type in certain workouts, you can do that without actually having to pay for a gym membership. Now, that's an option there as well for you. But do go on.
No.
I am living paycheck to paycheck, right? Can barely save any money.
when me and my partner were both working full time, and we were living in a flat, and this was several years ago now. We were just about being able to save money, just about. And it's the money we were making obviously is nowhere near what this guy's talking about. But for me, like, what sticks out to my mind, like, dude, if you are earning this amount of money, like, maybe you should manage your, like, I'm just going to go out on a limb here. Maybe you should manage your finances a bit better. You know, have you considered managing your finances a little bit more differently, you know? This guy's just entitled. Yeah, it does come across like that. Let me break out my tiny violin, says Sarah. Yes, please play the tiny violin for this, guys. Please break out the tiny violin.
So this idea that people like me who have worked our proverbials off.
Yes, well, obviously, yes, I'm sure he's probably a landlord. He probably was inherited his money, something like that. You know, I work hard.
And have apparently a good job, whatever, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, because obviously, you know, £230,000 a year is not considered a good job to him.
Shouldn't get benefits is ridiculous.
Because you bring in £230,000 a year, you need an energy bailout when your bills go up to 30-something quid a month. Give it a rest.
No. This idea that you are wealthy because you're on a X salary is just, it's the most reductive kind of low IQ take. That's all I'm saying.
You're on £230,000, bruv. I'm earning less than the minimum wage. You don't see me kicking up a fucking fuss here. Like, it's not like I'm saying to the chat, hey guys, can you put in 50 quid, can you all dip in 50 quid super chats? Yeah, just to get me up to the minimum wage. Because I'm not a greedy fucker like you are. Jesus Christ. People are just so disgusting. Like, so in their own bubble that they don't, like, they think that they are entitled to certain things because they're on a certain wage. And it's just like, dude, you're not living in the normal world here. You know, there are people earning less than I am who can manage their money better than you can. It's just ridiculous, guys. Ah, dear, oh dear. Good morning in New Zealand to Steve McMahon. Thank you so much for the 20 New Zealand dollars. There we go. Someone, there we go. It's not 50, but look, I'm joking, by the way. Don't send me a £50 super chat, guys. Yeah, honestly, like I'm joking, by the way, with all that stuff, guys. I'm starting a collection for this book. Steve has started a collection pot for this bloke, guys. We'll get there for him. Honestly, thank you so much for the 20 New Zealand dollars, my friend. Thank you so much. 4 more super chats to go, guys. Minimum £2. If we can get to that super chat goal, it'll be greatly appreciated. See, the minimum's £2, guys. I've not put it like, oh, it's got to be 50 or 20 quid like that. No, it's a reasonable amount, guys. Is what I'm asking to support me. You know. This caller needs to give up Netflix and stop eating avocados. No, the caller needs to give up his OnlyFans account. That's what he needs to give up, Sarah. That's the thing that's holding him back more than anything. That's what's holding him back more than anything. He's looking for a GoFundHim. At this point, I'd just like to say you can buy tiny violins on eBay. Can you actually buy tiny violins on eBay there? Benjamin, good to see you there. I hope you are doing well. Mandy, good to see you there in the chat as well. I'll come back to Twitch chat in just a moment. Mr. Silius, just bear with me there. Cut back on the avocados and toast and trips to Waitrose. Yeah, mate, have you heard of a place called Lidl? You should try them sometime, actually. They do some great deals there. Maybe you should try there. Right, cancel these super chats, says Mel. You aren't really going to do a super chat, Mel. Honestly, it's fine. Look. In all seriousness, when it comes to super chats, because I just want to make a serious point here, because I was being joking and whatnot, right? If you can support me, great, financially. If you can, great. But the most important thing, and I mean this sincerely, is always take care of yourself before you take care of others. Yeah. If you're struggling, do not send me a super chat. if you're struggling, do not become a member. Yeah, take care of yourself, take care of your friends and family and first, and then if you can support me, please do. That's the best message that I have for people. Yeah, honestly, if you can help, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. Yeah, and again, if you can't support me in a financial manner, best thing to do, whether you're on Twitch or whether you're on YouTube, following, liking, sharing, all that stuff makes a big difference and supports me because you're helping me just doing that kind of stuff there. So Mr. Silius, the other option is water power plants, specifically water plants that cycle water. But again, no politician wants to do that because of temporary nature damage. I don't know enough about that. I think that's something me and Pagan need to have a talk about on an Eco Flake show. Thank you for bringing that up. We should have a talk about. That's definitely something we haven't discussed, myself and Pagan. We I'm not sure if you're aware, but we do Eco Flake show every once a month, and we talk about environmental stuff, green energy, and all that kind of stuff. We've not actually had a discussion about that, guys. On that, I know people who manage quite normal life with minimum wage. If you have this amount of money, you just need to get good with your finances. Yeah, this is someone who poorly mismanages their finances. Don't care if you're left or right here. This guy has a problem with personal responsibility. Yeah. SMR, small modular reactors are the future of nuclear fission power for now, says one Angry Pagan. Through more and more jumps are being made faster and faster in the progression of that. And we need to talk more about that, Regan. Yeah, Pagan, if you get me a story about that, we can save that for in a few weeks' time. That'd be great. There, definitely would love to talk about that. Benjamin, thank you so much for the €2 super chat. That was not an incentive to send a super chat, by the way, but I appreciate it nonetheless. For keeping me company when I fiddle with spreadsheets, says Benjamin. Oh, I'm sorry you have to deal with spreadsheets. I appreciate you putting me on in the background while you're working. So honestly, Benjamin, I really appreciate that. Honestly, I hope you get through your day. Get through your work day. I really do. So thank you for the €2. I appreciate it. There. Another story that riles me up. I kind of wish I had more on this, but I don't right now. But we had a discussion on this. I think it was yesterday or Monday's Good Morning Show. We talked about Royal Mail. We talked about the situation with regards to it here. So, Royal Mail gave away almost £600 million to shareholder dividends and buyback schemes instead of investing in the service. This is the cost of privatisation. I made the point on the Good Morning Show. I'm pretty sure it was Monday. Or Tuesday, one of those two live streams. I made the point that we need to nationalise our Royal Mail.
Royal Mail, they decided at the start of the cost of living crisis to give virtually all of their profits, almost 600 million, they gave away to shareholders in dividends and buyback schemes. That was rather than invest at the time in workforce pay and in the transformation programme. But once they'd done that, within a matter of months, they were claiming they were almost bankrupt.
And what happens when they say they're almost bankrupt? Oh, we need the government to help us out. We need the government to support us. We're struggling. And obviously, we can't let an industry like this go bust. The government can't let it go bust because it needs to function. People need to get their letters and whatnot. Like, we just can't have a situation where we don't have it. It's just... This is once again another proof of why we cannot... We need to have the basics in the state hand. Basics needs to be in the state hand. You know, look, I'm all for companies making profit and doing well for themselves and whatnot, but just not at the expense of ordinary people's lives. This is just another example of people's lives being upheaved, and it's not just the workers who go through absolute hell. It's people not getting those very important letters because, as I've said before, these letters can be a matter of life and death for some of them there. Mr. E, thank you. It's good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for the super chat. I believe it was yesterday that you sent me a super chat right at the end of the Good Morning Show, and I never got a chance to say thank you for that. So thank you for that very late super chat yesterday. I did see it. I just didn't get to respond to it because I'd already gone to the outro. So thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate that, Mr. E. Good to see you there as well. Hope you're doing well. The government needs to fess up on this profit. Crap service and debt modules, says Billy Kershaw as well. This is why so many leaflets here are So anti-privatization. Yeah, it's a terrible situation. It really, really is here. I really do recommend people checking this out. So one of the things that I like to watch after Prime Minister's questions, after we cover it, I like to listen to the analysis piece here on from James O'Brien here on LBC. I think, you know, it really does give me a different pause for thought, because sometimes my initial thoughts are not always the same as what other people can be thinking. And this here I thought was very, very interesting piece here from the analysis.
Do you think of his question on Trump and the insider trading potential corruption?
I don't know how
going on
helpful
with
that
the
was.
betting
I don't know.
markets?
I mean, Starmer is clearly not going to come out and endorse the Nobel Prize-winning economist Paul Krugman's analysis of this as potential treason.
Because he's going to say Donald Trump is corrupt in the middle
No,
of the
he's
Prime
not.
Minister's
But
questions.
Ed Davey is arguably speaking to Keir Starmer and an audience, and the audience might like it, because someone needs to start saying this stuff. Someone in the mainstream of UK politics needs to start calling out what is obvious to everybody watching, because Starmer can't for diplomatic reasons. Badenoch won't, because she's Kemi Badenoch. And Nigel Farage definitely won't, because he's so far up Donald Trump's fundament that when he breaks wind, Farage whistles. So we have a sort of curious stalemate in which only Ed Davey can describe from an opposition position what is obvious to everybody, that Donald Trump's regime is catastrophic and quite possibly corrupt.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating, because obviously when we were listening to Prime Minister's questions, you know, Ed Davey brings up these questions. And the thing is that the questions you're not going to get an answer out of the Prime Minister either way, right? But he's the only one who's basically calling out Donald Trump. I mean, obviously the Greens are doing so as well, but Zach Polanski's not an MP yet. He would if he was an MP. But Nigel Farage and Reform, we know their position. Kemi Badenoch, the Conservatives' position, we know where they are. They want war. And Keir Starmer's not going to criticise Donald Trump in Israel because of his position, because he obviously doesn't want to. And I know people hate that position of Keir Starmer, but I've said about this before, about why Keir Starmer is walking this rope. And again, he's a Prime Minister of the UK. And while it's easy to take the moral high ground and say, yes, Keir Starmer should be doing more to call out Israel, he should be calling them out more for what they're doing in Gaza. He should be calling out more for what they're doing in the West Bank. He should be calling them out more for what they're doing to Palestinians inside cells. He should be calling out Israel more for what they're doing in Lebanon. Absolutely, he should be calling out on all of that stuff. And he's a fucking coward for not calling out more on that. I really do. It does something that really does grind my gears. But again, like, there are so many. We know that the Israeli lobby have strong connections in the Labour government, whether we like it or not. And we also know that the United States is very much deeply embedded into our security, into our foreign policy. Is there American influence inside British politics? Absolutely. Obviously, our nuclear missiles are not controlled by the UK government, but by the US, because they're the ones who hold the button as well, which is also incredibly dangerous as well. And we have lots of different contracts and different associations with multitudes of US contracts as well as US bases on here. Like, there are just so many things that ties us to the United States. As much as we would like to say, oh, let's just completely detach ourselves, it's not something that can be done overnight. It's just not. So, yeah, with all those factors in, this is why Keir Starmer takes the position he does. As for, you know, what he does on the Middle East and everything, it's just absolute, with regards to Gaza, West Bank and Lebanon and Syria. I should mention Syria as well. Yeah, he doesn't call out enough on it. He was literally, for those who didn't watch PMQs, he was asked a question about what's happening in the West Bank. No criticism of the Israeli government. He was just saying, talking about settler violence. No criticism of the Israeli government whatsoever. Whatever you ask people for evidence of successful privatization or successful public-private partnerships, they suddenly go very silent. It can work, Steve. It can work if the government's put the necessary safeguards and necessary targets that they have to achieve in it. Like, Germany have found ways to make it work. Germany are a good example of where they found public and private to work together in tandem there. But we don't put strong enough safeguards when it comes to private companies here, and they just milk us for all the money that we have. So that there are examples out there of nations where they've made it work, but the problem is when it comes to things like water, energy, mail, like the basic standard stuff of people's livelihoods, that stuff should not be anywhere near be touched by privatization, in my view. You could argue that maybe transport to a certain extent can work. Transportation could work, because it can work if it's done right. As Mr. Silius has just pointed out in the Twitch chat, you can see successful privatization in Poland after communist regime fell. Czechia would be second, but not as successful. Yeah, it can work. It can work, but I would not want it being used on some of the most basic of things. There are the basic things: water, electricity, like just as examples, mail, and plenty of other things. Police and whatnot. Healthcare should not be touched anywhere near by private health. Every nation should have state healthcare. Including the United States. There. Anyways, I wanted to share this story as well that broke a few hours ago. Now, we actually spoke about this. Earlier in the live stream, but I just wanted to share something that's happened a couple of hours ago with regards to it as well.
Let me just bring you more now on this breaking news out of the United States that a jury has found Meta and Google liable for harm caused to children using their platforms, and it is a big decision by this court. At the centre of the trial was a 20-year-old woman identified as KGM or Kaylee in documents, whose lawyers argued that her use of social media as a child effectively addicted her to the technology and made her depression worse, and also led to suicidal thoughts. Now, Meta and the Google-owned YouTube were the only defendants left after both TikTok and Snap, also named originally as defendants in the lawsuit, each settled before the trial began, and the case, along with a couple of others that are taking place, has been selected as a real bellwether trial in many ways on this big issue of who is to blame for the harm done to children, and its outcome could really impact how many other lawsuits progress against social media companies, and it gives an indication about how those lawsuits are likely to play out. So a jury has found that Meta and Google are liable for harm caused to children using their platforms.
Using their platforms, which is very... So obviously this comes back to the discussion about social media and children being addicted to social media, and what safeguards are not just the companies doing, but what governments are doing here. And obviously this is a case in the US, but of course, because this is a case in the US that looks to have been successful, and I say looks to be because obviously there still can be appealed. I have to stress that as well. Obviously, what does that mean for it here as well? Because when it comes to the safeguard and well-being of children, we do need to look at ways to do that. Now, the government here, they are. I put out a short video about this. I think it came out this morning for people on the YouTube channel, that they are looking to trial, obviously, certain limits of social media on UK teenagers. So instead of going with Australia, going with an outright ban, which I actually think they should do, they're going to do some trials, and they're going to do some experiments, the UK government, with certain teens, with certain tests, shall we say, experiments with children, and see how they adapt, how they change. I'm not sure how long it's going to run for, but it will help the government determine one. I don't know if it's going to be 6 months, several months, or whatnot. But when it comes to an end, the Labour government will have a better distinction of what to do when it comes to children's time on social media. But this is a case here where, you know, what tends to happen here is that they always try to say, oh, we're doing everything we can, or it's a third party, or they always try to pass the buck. Social media companies, they always try to pass the buck here. But we're talking about children here. You know, children's lives being destroyed here. You know, TikTok is so dangerous. I think TikTok is more dangerous than any other social media because it's so highly addictive. Takes up way too much space on my phone as well. Just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, can you stop storing up so much space on my phone, TikTok? Thank you very much. I always have to delete and reinstall the app almost on a daily basis because of how much data it bloody takes in. It's ridiculous. We need to chime this in. Kids will circumvent it. Well, the thing is, I will say this. Look, last we checked on how the ban in Australia went, over 1.8 million kids were denied access to social media. Now, did some try to circumvent it to get back on social media? Yeah. But did the vast majority do? I think we need to see an update report on how it's going. We need to give it a bit more time to know if it's actually benefiting Australian kids or not. Because that can be it. Because the longer that law goes on, the more it's a question of, was it beneficial? Was it the right thing to do with kids? But as far as this case is, this is not over because both Meta and Google will appeal the decision. I'm pretty confident of that. Whether they will get their appeals will be successful will be an interesting matter for sure. I'm not going to play the clip because I don't think it's worth playing, but doctors have announced they're going to be going on strike next month in England. Formerly resident doctors, known formerly as junior doctors, they've just not gotten a fair pay deal, so they're going to be going on strike next month. It'll probably be touched on tomorrow's Good Morning show here. I know this is GB News, and I very much try to very rarely share you a GB News clip because, you know, it's propaganda here. But I just want to talk about this with you guys here. So for those who didn't watch Prime Minister's Questions, for those who are here, the Reform MPs walked out of PMQs because they were not happy with Keir Starmer did not answer the question. But I'm just going to play a bit of it here, and then I'll chime in here.
Is Richard Tice, the Reform Deputy Leader. Why have you walked out of the PMQs?
Oh, I mean, we're just furious. It's ridiculous. Nigel asked a very serious question about something of great concern to tens of millions of British citizens about the fact that the smashing the gangs policy for the illegal migrants has completely failed, 70,000 people, and the Prime Minister's us banging on about the war and councils. I mean, there's no dinghies and boats in Staffordshire, for heaven's sake, Prime Minister. They're coming across the English Channel. We're sick of it. It's the second time in a row the Prime Minister's refused to ask a question. The whole point is, you know, the clue's in the name. It's called Prime Minister's Questions.
I mean, I do want to point something out here is that Nigel Farage is the MP for Clacton-on-Sea. And last I checked, I've not seen any immigrants or migrants coming across onto Clacton from that part of the country. I'm just pointing that out there. So, you know, normally an MP would ask a question about his constituents. And as far as I'm aware, I've not heard Nigel Farage ask a question with regards to the people of Clacton or what's going on in his constituency. There is no wave of immigrants coming in from Clacton-Sea, as far as I'm aware, there as well. Why has Reform Russia shifted gears on to talk about immigration? Is because they're not doing well in the polls. Their polls have started to dip. They are still in the lead, shall we? I'll take it back. They are doing well in the polls, sorry. But they have taken a bit of a chime. It has been getting chucked away a little bit. And the problem is that they can't talk about the war because their position is obviously they want to suck up to Trump. And their best logical, they basically decided to change tactic. and try to talk about immigration again non-stop, because that's the one thing that definitely wins them over here. So, and obviously they did, their councils have been doing crap jobs here as well. That's which is why I brought up Staffordshire, which has actually been doing a terrible job. And by the way, this is the same political party that promised not to raise not to raise taxes in your areas when they were elected, and they've raised council taxes.
He has to answer our questions, not the other way around. And the Speaker, frankly, needs to sort something out, because this is becoming a farce.
Well, he said last week, didn't he, that he's not in charge of the answers the PM gives to Kemi Badenoch. But what?
Look, should the speakers have more powers? Should the Prime Minister, should PMQs be about Prime Ministers answering questions? Yes. But is the PMQs is a circus? Let's be absolutely clear. It is a circus. It's just a circus of people going, oh, and then you have the speaker saying, oh, I'll take you out I'll throw you out for a cup of tea if you keep at it, dear, you know, and all that nonsense there. It is more of a circus rather than in seriousness there. I will give it that. But you can't force the Prime Minister to answer the question that you want. And unfortunately, Boris Johnson is the one who started this in the first place here. I don't think government would have a better idea with children on social media. What they want is to create a platform for minors. What's better, hunting fields, PDFs that you can create? How can you assure that these people are protected? IDs? Kids don't have IDs, therefore you would create platforms that are like normal internet now, but with certainty the kids are there. I disagree with national healthcare as well. I pay premium for using private hospitals. I pay standard healthcare bill plus administration fee. In my experience was better than in a public hospital. Well, we obviously, I will say, obviously, with regards our national healthcare service before the Conservatives and the coalition took over in 2010 was regarded as the #1 best healthcare service on the planet. Going in and being able to get whatever help and aid that you need and not have to worry about paying the bills later or anything is a very good thing. I think it's a system that every country should adopt. Healthcare is a human right and a right that everyone should be entitled to. And I think everyone paying into a form of tax to pay for it rather than you paying a private company is a much better way of paying for healthcare. That's just my personal opinion, and obviously the way you're getting your healthcare is totally fine as long as it suits you. That's fine. But I personally believe that everyone should pay a tax for healthcare, and everyone pays into it. That way, everybody gets that healthcare, and you don't have this situation of people not having been out. Not if people whether they have health insurance or don't have health insurance, you don't have that situation there. That's just my personal opinion.
Wasn't that just a stunt, frankly, to draw attention to a small party like yours?
I tell you what it is. It is a very serious demonstration of fury on behalf of tens of millions of British people.
No, it wasn't a demonstration of any sorts. All they did was made themselves look like a bunch of fucking clowns. That's all they did.
That the Prime Minister will not answer a serious question about what's his Plan B strategy to stop the boats, because Plan A, smashing the gangs, has just encouraged the gangs. We've got more boats, more illegals coming across than before the general election. His policies utterly failed, as we predicted it would do, and he's just trying.
I disagree that healthcare is a right. If it was a right, then you would need to provide for everyone. I would phrase it as a way healthcare should be affordable to everywhere. Well, we agree to disagree respectfully. It is a right. Everyone should have a right to healthcare. And yes, you need to provide for everyone. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying every single human on this planet should have a right to healthcare. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't give a shit what the cost is. Everyone should have a right to healthcare. That is a human right that I firmly believe in. Healthcare should be affordable to everyone. Well, again, it varies because not everybody can afford healthcare. You know, for me, like it doesn't give me any pleasure whatsoever when I see in many parts of the world where they have little to no healthcare at all, and they rely on handouts and foreign aid to help provide them the healthcare. But I understand where you're coming from. I really do. So, but that's my firm belief. I believe everyone should have a right to healthcare. I believe it's a human right. I know people would disagree with it, but that's fine. The way you cite it, the way of groups of people abusing the system by not paying a cent, to it. Well, what about the poorest people in society who have absolutely nothing? So the poorest people in society who are really struggling to get by, you're saying that if they can't pay in, they're not entitled to healthcare. That they should just get sick, die off because they can't afford healthcare. Do you see the logic where you're applying there? So you're already dismissing a group of people by saying that some people can't afford to pay. Are there abusers? Would there be abusers in the system? Absolutely. I'm not dismissing that, but there are abusers in all systems of kinds. You know, there is no such thing as a perfect system in any system in anywhere. There's always going to be people who abuse systems. That's a fundamental fact. You can never have a perfect healthcare. You can never have a perfect education system. You can't have a perfect something, right? There's no such thing as perfections. There's always going to be flaws. But I would rather some people abuse the system if it meant giving it to people who can't afford to have that healthcare, because it gives that person a chance to have a decent life, whether a decent life better for them. That's my personal view there. So we're going to ignore the part should be affordable. I've made my position clear, but we agreed to disagree respectfully. That's fine. There. We should get to as close as possible to balance this cost versus abusers. I see that point there. Yeah, that's a fair point there as well. Yeah, that's a fair point there as well. How could we bring a class action suit against the PLC? Says Billy Kershaw. Healthcare is a constitutional right in Portugal, and like Reganelite, I do not give a crap about how much it costs. I've heard something along those lines, but it's important to know who donates to who. Sorry, let me just scroll up. Oh, thank you, Steve. Sorry, I almost missed your super chat. Thank you so much for the 10 New Zealand dollars there. Thank you so much for that. Very, very kind of you. Guys, we're 2 super chats away from getting to the goal. If you can help get over that line, be greatly appreciated if you can help there. Thank you so much for that, Steve. Very kind of you. The irony is that we support a fully funded public health system. This is in New Zealand, and free education. Yet our taxes are lower than the United States, says Steve McMahon. Yeah, the United States is a very different beast, to be fair there, with it. But that's my fundamental belief, you know. But, I'm glad that we're having this discussion. I'm glad we're having this discussion. It is a very important discussion there. Okay, we spent quite a lot on UK clips there, so I think we'll leave that lot for now. Where is I wasn't expecting to spend as much as I did on it, but there we go. Where should we go? Right, let's start with this one then. Okay, guys, the war in Iran. You didn't think we were going to get away from it? No. Sorry, guys. Got a lot of these, so let's get to it. So the first one we got from Al Jazeera here. So Israel have been trying to make a case for its war on Iran by portraying the country as a threat to European cities, warning Iranian missiles could reach capitals like London and Paris. I'm going to play a bit of this for you guys, and then I'm going to chime in with my views. Feel free to add yours down below.
Ballistic missiles today, they can reach Paris, it reaches London, Athens, Copenhagen, Riga, it reaches deep into Europe, 4,000 kilometers.
Now, obviously, this is the Israeli ambassador, so obviously, straight away, you could already see I can already hear the alert, the sirens going off in both chats about this, because this is an Israeli ambassador. So let me address this this head on here, right? So Israel are claiming that Iran have missiles, ballistic missiles with range that can target London, target Paris, pretty much target any major European city, okay? Let's just say for the sake of argument, okay? Let's say for the sake of argument, for his sake, okay? Let's say he's telling the truth, right? Let's say Iran does have these weapons and that they can target Europe. Let's just say on the hypothetical that they can, okay? I'm more likely to inclined to agree that they probably do have these kind of missiles, okay? Let's just say they do, okay? Here's the thing, all right? Have they fired a ballistic missile at a European country? Hear that silence? That's because the answer is no. Have they hit the UK? No. Have they hit France? No. Have they hit Germany? No. Have they hit Spain? Have they hit Italy? Have they hit Poland? No. They haven't hit any European nations. So this argument here, this is the same argument he's making. What they use to justify dragging the United States of America into the war that they're in the first place. To say that if we don't attack, if you don't help, these missiles are coming for you. It's how can I put this? It's like poker. It's like poker. Your opponent is claiming, I've got 2 aces and I'm going to beat you. When in fact, all he has is a 4 and a 7. A 4 of clubs or a diamond 7 or something, right? When he's bragging, he's got 2 aces here. And I'm going to put them down and I'm going to screw you over. I've got ya. Israel are bluffing. Just like they bluffed the United States in this war. Even if they had the missiles, there is no benefit to Iran doing this. Even if they did. This is nothing more than scaremongering. This is scaremongering, and that's all it is. And the right-wing media here in the UK will use this information to say, Iran can attack us at any moment. Iran are going to strike us at any moment. We have to go to war. They will argue tooth and nail, the Mail, the Express, all these right-wing journalists and social media influencers, they will say, we've got to go to war. We got to go to war because they've got missiles that's going to hit us any moment. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're trying to justify. This is their new tactic, to scare you into thinking, ooh, they're coming for you. It's the same bollocks that they said about Russia about to strike the UK. Have they done cyber attacks on the UK? Yes. Have they launched a nuclear missile or ballistic missile at the UK, Russia? Not that I'm aware of. Skies look quiet to me. I think systems should benefit this sort of people. Cooperate and get benefits and don't face consequences. Mr. Silly says. Israel and the USA can have their holy war and F off, says Jow. Compromat, it's easy to scare Americans. Oslo, Wales, the war of the world, original radio broadcast. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Billy Kershaw. Thank you, yeah. The holy war, yeah, the holy war. Martin, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. They don't, but okay. But we honestly, well, the truth is, Martin, we don't actually know, to be fair. We don't actually know for sure. We you know, all I will say is that this is coming from Israel, so of course we have to take it with a pinch of salt because it's Israel. Oh no, it's going to be able to strike the United States of America, the very country that struck Iran for no reason whatsoever. Oh dear. Let me debunk this right now. The United Kingdom was, the UK government were informed that the drone strike that was taking place that hit the Cyprus base was not from Iran. This was confirmed, and many people are forgetting this. This context is so important, and our media needs to be saying this. I remember when we were reading out a story, I think it was on Monday, where they forgot to add this context in. This context matters. Yeah, the strike on the Cyprus in Cyprus on the UK base was not from Iran. It was confirmed that it was not from Iran. Reliable sources in the UK government have said that. Cannot stress that enough. Okay. Now, obviously, Netanyahu wants you to think that they're already targeting European bases. It's really, really important to understand that context. And there's only two potential forces who did send that drone strike on the Cyprus base. One, it was Hezbollah, which doesn't really make much sense because the UK are not involved in what's going on there right now, even though something should be done about what's Israel there. Or two, the country I just mentioned, Israel deliberately and intentionally sent a drone to strike at the Cyprus base with the intention of scaring Britain into getting involved in this war because they feel that they've been struck by Iran, when in fact it was Israel. And that's a conspiracy theory, by the way, or allegation that's been put out there. Yeah, but you guys have nuclear missiles as well, by the way. You can strike us. You could strike us as well, Israel, can't you? But have they pushed it on Europe? I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. You know, when you want to talk about missiles that are dangerous, ballistic missiles are dangerous, maybe Israel are the ones who have too many weapons, you know. Targeting Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen, maybe we should be discussing about their weapon capabilities, you know?
Iran is never good.
It's bollocks. It's just bollocks. And I'm sure you guys are aware of that as well. So, obviously, the Iran war is obviously tied into this content with regards to Trump and the Trump administration and what they're doing there as well. This guy has been going forever. Well, at least until Pacman, says Billy Kershaw. Yeah. And apparently Israel are having elections this year, which is shocking because I thought they were not going to have elections with wars going on. But hey ho. Anyways, I want to hear from this Republican senator here. The Trump administration has lifted sanctions on some Iranian oil for the first time in decades in an attempt to get control over the soaring oil prices. However, this has led to pushback in some hawks of his own party who want to maintain a tough line on Iran on all fronts there. So let's just listen to what he has to say.
I'm okay with lifting sanctions as long as the money doesn't go to Iran. As long as if the money doesn't go to Iran, I would make sure no money goes to Iran. No, absolutely no money goes
by seizing
Iran. I don't believe we should allow any oil to be sold and the money go to Iran.
But here's the thing: this argument does not work if you're lifting sanctions on Iran then Iran are going to get more money. Like it just doesn't work.
That should not
And
happen.
how do you stop that?
Well, if it's going to be sold, the money cannot go to an Iran bank account. We got to do everything we can. Look, they want to kill us. The Iranian government wants to kill all of us. They want nuclear weapons to destroy everybody standing here.
I want to make it. As far as I'm aware, I haven't been. Like, this seems like, again, scaremongering. Does Iran really want to wipe out the United States of America? Maybe they probably do. They are a bit crazy, to be fair there.
They want to.
Everyone's situation is different, Mr. Silius. There's situations where there's all sorts of reasons why people can't work. But just because somebody can't work for whatever reason doesn't mean that they shouldn't be entitled to healthcare. I go back to the point that healthcare is a human right. Your position, correct me if I'm wrong, is that people should work, should only correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your position is that if you are working for a living, you should get healthcare through you pay it through your wages, through your private insurer. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I would fundamentally disagree with that position. I see Iran like Iraq. I bet my left a nut. There are no nuclear weapons. There aren't no nuclear weapons. Look, there is no nuclear weapons. Okay, there's no nuclear weapons, and that's why you saw in the other clip, right? They were going like talking about ballistic missiles, not nuclear weapons, ballistic missiles.
Kill our kids, our families. That's what they want to do. We've got to stop it. We've got to stop and make sure they don't have ballistic missiles. We have to do this. We have no choice. But with regard to if those ships couldn't sell it, the money.
No, you don't have to do this. It's a choice. You don't have to listen to Israel and do everything that they say, by the way.
They should not go to Iran.
Senator, are you comfortable with easing sanctions on Iranian oil?
I'm never comfortable with doing anything easy for Iran.
So what do you say? What do you say to the president for doing
that? I think that right now we should keep the pedal down, and I don't know how you explain that. In the same way, I don't know how we explain giving $150 million a day to Russia to fund the war in Ukraine.
Have they tried to explain?
Yeah, maybe it's because you guys didn't calculate the Strait of Hormuz being closed, you know. But again, like all these Republicans, they won't attack the president. They won't attack his administration here. It's highly embarrassing here. This was quite interesting. I don't normally get clips from these guys here, but I thought it was quite interesting here that a reporter here. So Netanyahu was taking questions from foreign media, and one of the Sky News reporters who was in Israel here. I'm going to play the whole thing and let you guys let me know what you guys think about this one.
My question. Go ahead. Why you don't? This is a war and peace here.
The handlers, they took the microphone away from me, and I was like, I'm not done yet. We only had a tiny bit of notification. We had to get there, and we had to come now. We go there and go through the security, and I was told that I would get a question, so they sat me in the front row.
Many Americans do believe that Israel dragged the United States in this war and is now pulling the rest of the world along with it. How do you see this ending?
Well, I think we have concrete goals how to do it.
Yeah, your concrete goals is complete and total destruction of Iran. That's simply it.
How to end it. We wanted, as I said, decimate the ballistic missile program, which we're doing, decimate the nuclear program, which we're doing. This canard that we dragged the United States into it is not just a canard, it's ridiculous.
This is very, very true. I mean, as in, this is absolute bollocks. To say that that Israel did not coax Donald Trump into this is just nonsense. Time and time again, I'm hearing more and more that this was Israel's war, that this was Israel. They had to do it for Israel. Like, literally, they've even said this on camera.
He was really kind of talking you through why Israel went in, what its objectives are, which frankly are different to the objectives of the Americans.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I believe the reason he called this small gathering of foreign reporters was to address this topic specifically, because the general consensus was building that this was Israel's idea, that this was Netanyahu's personal idea, and he wanted to say, no. This was something that President Trump wanted to do, and we are an ally, and that he didn't take convincing. I got in a second question, and you'll hear a little bit about this as well, because after I asked my question, the handlers, they took the microphone away from me, and I was like, well, I'm not done yet.
I didn't exactly ask, however, why the Israel's... No, I think it's only fair to... This is a serious subject. This is a serious... My question...
Go ahead.
Why don't... This is a war and peace here.
Of course, but you have...
There are oil fields around the world that are burning. Gas prices are going up. The war is popular here in Israel. It is not popular with many Americans. So my question was, how do you see this ending? Not why, not even when. What do you imagine the day after will look like?
Well,
they don't care is the answer. There's no point even listening to Netanyahu's answer, because he doesn't even give a proper answer. Just like he waffles anyway. Here. Perfection is a stigmatization. Humans are not poodles. Depending on who's interpreting of Brave New World, each to their own, I suppose. Here, yeah, it's just they do not care. Netanyahu doesn't care. Israel doesn't care. And remember, the Israeli population, they have been raised and groomed in a way to believe that the Arab nations, the Arab world, all these kind of people, these are all enemies and danger to them, all that kind of stuff. They have been educated at a young age to now, as adults, to think a certain way about Palestinians, about Gazans, about Arab nations. Their education has brainwashed them to think a certain way, their entire nation. A lot of them are in a bubble in comparison to the rest of the world. I just want to put that out there. So Iran's ambassador here, I'm not going to play this one actually, but he just says, basically saying, we fight on behalf of all of you. Iranian's ambassador to the United Nations speaks at the Human Rights Council, basically saying, just saying that we're fighting for our freedom and that kind of stuff there. Take that with a pinch of salt here. This one here is... So, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, is asked about the troops being dispatched, right? And the question is, the Pentagon is supposedly dispatching 2,000 troops. Now, we've discussed this already. We know the troops are being dispatched. How is that not boots on the ground? And you said we're not at war. How is this not an escalation of the war in Iran? A lot of words, guys.
There's talk about the Pentagon is supposedly dispatching 2,000 troops. How is that not putting boots on the ground? And you said we're not at war. How is that not an escalation of war in Iran?
Look, I think it sends a signal to Iran that they better get their act together. We need to resolve this quickly, and that's the president's interest, and that's ours. It's everyone's. We need to. Operation Epic Fury is almost done. I mean, I think the
yeah, it's almost done, guys. It's almost done. Epic Fury has been such a arousing success, but we're just going to send 2,000 troops over, guys. But like I said, it's an arousing success, guys.
That was very clearly defined in the beginning. The objectives have been met. We have to get this straight up.
Yep, the objectives have been met, while we're also sending your sons and daughter to the Middle East, guys. It's mission accomplished, guys. Just ignore the fact that your sons and daughters are being sent to the Middle East right now.
Hormuz straightened out, and we need our international partners to help with that, because it's a giant project that involves everybody around the world at some level. So I'm optimistic that's going to happen. The buildup of troops is very different than boots on the ground. We don't have boots on the ground. I don't think that's the intention, but I think Iran should watch that buildup, and they need to take note of that.
That I don't think that's the intention. So what are an extra 2,000 troops being dispatched to the Middle East counts then exactly? Yeah, you guys help me understand. Help me understand Mike Johnson's logic here. Help me understand his logic. I can't understand this. Like, I don't know if it's me, guys, but it feels like this war is escalating. But you know, you tell me, guys. You tell me. And it gets more bonkers.
Let's see what the Secretary for War has to say about these very delicate and important negotiations with extremely important people who definitely exist but go to a different school.
The air campaign that we've conducted, that Israel's conducted alongside us, was one for the history books, truly. And it's because we have a president of the United States that when he sends his warfighters out to fight, he unties their hands to actually go out and close with and destroy the enemy as viciously as possible from moment one.
Viciously as possible. Like, what does that mean, viciously? Like, like, this is playground stuff, this is. Like, you're not playing Call of Duty, bruv. Like, this is real life stuff here. You know, it's like, what do you mean by the word viciously here? This is just insane to me. Epic military operation, a fury of shock and awe, groundbreaking, electric-liking, massive boom explosion of manhood here. Like, I think Pete Hegseth is just, I just don't know. If Pete Hegseth has a wife, I don't think he spends a lot of time with her. I'm just saying. I get the feeling he's not as manly as he thinks he is, you know, when he comes up here and talks. I don't think he spends a lot of time with women. I'm just going to go out of my way and say that, guys.
And that's why we see ourselves as part of this negotiation as well. We negotiate with bombs. You have a...
We negotiate with bombs! Yes, guys, we negotiate with bombs! You negotiate with bombs! What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? We negotiate with bombs. We negotiate with bombs. There's only one negotiation with a bomb, and that is boom. So much word salad comes out of this guy's mouth. It's insane. This is the Secretary of War. And he is trying so hard to sucker up to Donald Trump, who's standing right beside him as well.
Choice as we loiter over the top of Tehran, as the president talked about your future. The president has made it clear that you will not have a nuclear weapon. The War Department agrees. Our job is to ensure that. And so we're keeping our hand on that throttle.
You never had the throttle in the first place. The moment you launched those strikes, mate, you never had the throttle in the first place. Like, it's not even a real throttle. It's a fake one. You think you're on the throttle. You're not on anything, mate. You might be on crack, but that'd be disrespect to crack takers there.
As long as it's hard as is necessary to ensure the...
What the fuck is that with Donald Trump there? Jesus Christ. AI bombs, chat to them, negotiate terms. Oh dear. Error 404, brain not found.
Interest of the United States of America are achieved on that battlefield.
So they've already won, but they haven't achieved their interests, and they're keeping that man's mad, right? I mean, we talk a lot about Donald Trump being a deranged liar. I don't know that I've got the vocabulary. To paraphrase the late, great Peter Cook, I never had the Latin. I could have been a High Court judge, but I never had the Latin. I mean, he is absolutely bonkers. And again, it's only when I come to work and I start talking to you about it that this stuff properly registers, because the rest of the time I'm busy. I've got tennis to play. I've got video games to finish. I come to work, I have to stare at it like this, and I go, oh my holy moly, he's in charge of everything. He's the man. He's the Secretary of State for War. He's as mad as a box of frogs.
This Pete Hegseth guy. This guy should be. I wouldn't want him playing video games actually, because the chances are, if he was playing Call of Duty, chances are he'd probably get mad when he does. He'd probably rage quit and start throwing his controller at the TV screen when he finds out that he absolutely is shit at the game. So I probably wouldn't want him playing Call of Duty and whatnot, because he'd be really piss poor at it, in my personal view. But But this guy has no experience in what he's doing whatsoever. It's absolutely insane, guys. This here, I'm not going to play this one because we've got so many to come through and we're already like 9 minutes in. This is the Iran spokesperson for the Iranian military, basically just debunking and dismissing Donald Trump's claim that they're in negotiations there as well. Absolute bombshell. The former UK Minister Alan Duncan confirms that there was a clear peace agreement mediated by Oman for zero nuclear proliferation in Iran. But it was sabotaged and betrayed by Israel because they always wanted to attack Iran. Israel started the war. We already know this, but I just want to reinforce this message anyway to people on this. It's really important. This context really, really matters here.
Is not to forget how this started, which is there was a pretty clear agreement mediated by the Omanis for zero nuclear proliferation with full inspection, including by the Americans.
Yep.
And this was sabotaged and betrayed by primarily the Israelis deciding they were going to attack Iran
because
anyway.
They didn't believe it.
They didn't want to believe it. This is the war that Israel has always wanted. This is primarily an Israeli-driven war.
If that's so, can America end it? Or is it up to Israel to decide to end it?
America can end this anytime they want to. All they have to do is tell Israel to fuck off. Israel have got America by the balls. The problem is that they are not pushing the hand away from it.
I think if America ends it and Israel is left on its own, then I think the world can then very clearly see what Israel is doing. But also, I think Israel's also been exposed as a country whose strategy is not as clever as they think it is. I mean, the Iranians are being the clever ones here. They're not a stupid pushover, but there's no easy regime change, is my point. And it didn't just collapse the next day. Not at all. If anything, you've now got a stronger grip in Iran, despite the displacement of 3 million people within Iran. And how can you negotiate them when if you've destroyed things at the centre, there's no centre to negotiate with?
You keep killing the person you're going to negotiate with. It doesn't really work.
Yeah, and this is really, really important for people. Again, the mainstream media does not tell people enough about this. You know, when it came to the negotiations of the ceasefire for Gaza, for Hamas, sorry. Hamas's negotiators were struck in Qatar by Israel because they did not want, apologies for that. They did not want peace. They did not want peace. I mean, they have a ceasefire now, but it's quote unquote ceasefire. It's not really a ceasefire because they're still striking missiles inside Gaza. Inside Gaza anyway. Sorry, they don't care. Apologies. But like Israel doesn't care. They do not give a shit in any way, shape or form about all of this. They really, really don't. They want, you know, the Holy War, the Third Temple, as was mentioned. They want Greater Israel. They want annexation of Gaza, annexation of the West Bank, annexation of Lebanon. They want a huge chunk of Saudi Arabia. They're going to go after Jordan at some point as well. They want most of Syria as well. They want Greater Israel. That's their ambition. That's their goal. That's what their goal is, and they're going to do whatever it takes. And the thing is, Israel are completely out of control. They are an out of control animal because nobody is reining them in. I've spoken so many times about them breaking the international laws, and no one's holding them accountable. Not America, not Europe, no one. No one is stopping Israel doing what they're doing. And everyone talked, and there is a very possibility that Israel, I don't know if I want to say this. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it. It's just, they could be the linchpin that started World War III. And we could prevent, I really do think, actually, if we want to stop World War III from happening, reign in Israel. If the world reigned in Israel, we could stop World War III from happening. Let me put it that way. interesting caller here. You're talking about expelling the US from NATO here.
So to give you some background, ex-chief officer in the Merchant Navy, and I've also served in the mine countermeasures in the Gulf. You start with area denial. That's what mines are. All they're doing is denying sea access to certain vessels. The reason that some of the vessels can get through with Iranian help is they know where the mines are. Right. So they can just lead people through. So you kind of have two options. One, get very, very close to the Iranian regime, get them to take you through on the proviso that you will take no other ships with you. No other people will know where you're going through and how you're getting through.
Yeah.
That is not a diplomatic solution that I think the British government wants to go down. Yep.
Yeah.
Because you're then talking about basically making a ally out of the Iranian regime. They send 3 drones that cost a couple of $100 each up into the air. We then have to spend millions of pounds in manning, aerial surveillance, and intercept missiles to be able to stop them. That could go on for months. What's the alternative? Start opening up different routes. West Africa for oil supply, maybe. But you're talking here about years of lead-in time then to be able to do it. We have put so much of our energy security and the world financial security on one choke point.
The people chairing those negotiations thought that they were on the brink of a settlement, and then Trump and Netanyahu blew the whole thing up. So this is terrifying.
Who wins? What's the end game of it? Who wins from us trying to go into negotiations? The only way that's going to happen, you're talking about something drastic. I don't want to be the one to say it on national radio,
but you're
talking about expelling the United States from NATO.
Yeah.
So to give you,
I don't think you could ever go that far. I don't think expelling the United States from NATO. You can't. The way the NATO is functioned, the way it's functioned is that you can't expel them because they're a permanent member. You can't expel them. Can you? I don't think you can. Can we really do that? You mean straight up Hamas cartoon, says Doc Davis there. The lengths they go to keep out of jail. This caller sounds too nervous to be who he claims. I think it sounds reasonable what he's saying there. There is some reason to it. I don't know enough about the oil in Nigeria, by the way. I just want to make that clear. I don't know enough about that, so I'm not going to comment on that proposal there. But it's like, again, like we're going back to the oil and gas situation, obviously. That's just going back to where we're going to get all our resources on here. Caroline Levitt doing what Caroline Levitt always does, defend the indefensible, saying everything's perfect, everything's rosy, that president knows exactly what he's doing, and that he's the best president in the world, and that everyone loves Donald Trump, and that I love Donald Trump, and that you should love Donald Trump, and Donald Trump doesn't do anything wrong, he gets everything right because Mr. President Trump is perfect in every single way.
President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell. Iran should not miscalculate again. Their last miscalculation cost them their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
Press Secretary Caroline Levitt at her best. Where is your necklace gone, Caroline Levitt? I'm going to skip that one because that one takes too. I'm not. This is an oh my god, we're near the end already. I've got so many clips of this one. Okay, I do want to play this one because I do think this is a good one because this is from a former MI6 chief, Alex Younger here. I do think this is quite an interesting one here. So, former MI6 chief saying Iran has the upper hand in the war here.
Who has the upper hand right now?
Iran. I regret having come to this conclusion because, like many MI6 officers of my generation, we faced the violence and brutality of the IRGC for most of our careers.
That's the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps.
Yeah. So there is no love lost between us, and I shed no tears for Ali Khamenei.
who was killed at the beginning of this war. But the reality is the US underestimated the task, and I think, as of about 2 weeks ago, lost the initiative to Iran. In practice, the Iranian regime has been more resilient than I think anyone would have expected. They took some good decisions, actually, as early as last June, about dispersing their military capability and delegating the authority for the use of those weapons.
It's also worth reminding people that a lot of militaries walked out. A lot of top-ranking US generals walked out. Military officers, military commanders and whatnot walked out on the Trump administration because they told them that this war, that they were not ready for this war, that this war was not going to work and this was a bad idea. And they were ignored. And that's... and they still went ahead with it, even though all the experts told them that we should not go to war. They still went to war.
Which has given them significant extra resilience against this incredibly powerful air campaign. They have embarked on what's technically called horizontal escalation, i.e. firing rockets at anybody within range, which at the time, honestly, Shawshank, I thought was nuts, but in fact has been a very good way of putting in direct price on the US. Sort of worked. And then they've understood the significance of the energy war and held the Straits at threat and globalized and essentially not internationalized, just globalized the conflict in a way that gives them some weapons. So, they've played a weak hand pretty well. My second point is that Donald Trump has said some stuff that will have confirmed something they knew already, which is that they're in a civilizational war in their terms. They're in a war of existence. Donald Trump made it very clear that he wanted to see them up against the wall, basically, whereas America has embarked on a war of choice. And in those terms, I think that's imbued them with more staying power than their US and certainly US counterparts. And they know that now, and I think that really is giving them the whip hand.
Yeah, Satan is coming. Satan is coming, says Doc Davis. Yeah, apparently so. I've just noticed the time, guys, so I don't want to go too far. There was one clip I definitely wanted to share with you guys. Let me just try and find the ones that I wanted to share. Here, this is a very good one here. The Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, which we saw earlier, started to panic as he had to shut down his press conference when a reporter asked why Israel is allowed to have nuclear weapons while no other country in the Middle East is.
Sir, everyone knows that Israel is a nuclear power. If you say no, Fa'nunu, who fled Israel to London, and he gave that important interview with the Times of London, and he was kidnapped back to Israel and was arrested for 18 years. Why Israel has the right to acquire nuclear weapons, but no other Middle Eastern countries has that same right?
Yeah, that's a good question, guys. Why are Israel allowed to have nuclear weapons, but no one else in the Middle East is allowed to have them? What a very good question. Finally, a question put directly to an Israeli ambassador to Israel. What an interesting question. Let's see if he gives an open and honest answer to it, guys.
Thank you.
One should ask himself about every nation who is bringing stabilization to the area and who is bringing chaos. Israel is a stabilizing force in the region.
Are you sure about that? I don't know if that's true. It doesn't come across to me as Israel is a stabilizing force. That's not how I see it there myself.
We want peace. Allow me to answer that. We sign peace treaties. We promote peace. We pray for peace.
Yeah, you promote peace and pray for peace by, allowing settlers to occupy parts of the West Bank, by continuously allowing the IDF to kill innocent people in Gaza, was consistently violating the ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel on a near daily basis before they struck when this war started. Breaching international waters by stopping the flotilla, providing aid and supplies to the people of Gaza, because you were not allowing any aid or food getting into the Rafah crossing, which was leading to the death and starvation of lots of Palestinian people inside Gaza as well. But sure, these are the The peacemakers, guys. These are the guys who are looking after for peace, guys.
When you look at the Iranian regime, they are doing exactly the opposite. They have attacked 13 countries in 1 month. You know, Israel exists for 77 years. We never had war with 13 countries combined.
Yeah, but who started all those wars? Who struck first in those 13 wars? Oh, that's right.
So today you understand that Iran is a problem for instability and Israel is a source for peace and stability. Thank you.
Question about nuclear capability.
I did. Thank you.
You didn't answer it. You walked away. He walked away, guys. He walked away from the question. He walked away from the question. What was the other one I wanted to share? There was one other one I wanted to share with you guys. Where is it? Oh, yeah. How's Donald Trump doing in America? This was a poll today, this morning, from MS Now News. 62% of people disapprove of Donald Trump, with 36% there. So it's possible we might see it increase. Donald Trump bigging up the ICE patriots who are doing fuck all at the airports to deal with the crisis around the American airports as well there. Telling ICE they're doing great jobs, just standing there on their asses, unmasked, not doing anything about it, by the way, as well. So I just wanted to share that pointless piece there from there as well. Where's the one I wanted to share? There was a really important one I wanted to share as well. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, this is insane. This is insane, this one. Okay, we're going to go to a funny video after this one, guys. This is insane. So, you know, when it comes to criticizing Vladimir Putin, it's really important that we hold these people to the fire, right? When it comes to some of these politicians, right? We need politicians, right? It's really important that they make their position very, very clear, right? I don't know why it was so hard for this guy to not answer this question. Just listen to the question and the response, okay? And this is this is another guy working for the Trump administration, okay?
Too. You're also cutting the support we have for the general prosecutor in Ukraine that's prosecuting war crimes. Is Vladimir Putin a war criminal, sir?
Sir, again, that's well outside of my purview as the T Undersecretary.
Well, no. How about as an American? As an American person and a citizen.
Yes, sir.
And someone cares.
I'm both.
Is Vladimir Putin a war criminal?
I understand that. I'm both.
No, yes or no?
No, sir. I'm not going to answer yes or no.
So let me get this right. Despite the fact that Vladimir Putin has already been established as a war criminal, okay? By multiple organizations, international bodies, and even the United States to a certain extent, has been dubbed a war criminal because of what he's because of what he's doing in Ukraine and the disruption that he's causing to the global order by the things that he is doing, right? Despite all that, despite the fact that it's absolutely categorically Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, is a war criminal, this fucker working for the Trump administration cannot bring it upon himself to say that. Okay, it's bad enough that Donald Trump can't say it, but this guy can't say it. He can't say that Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. Why can't he say that?
No, sir, I'm not going to answer yes or no. That's quite an answer.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, yes, no, it's yes or no or yes. You can't even ask a simple question like that. We have to know because we have cut, under your agency, sir, you're cutting support for the prosecutor general. And you know what that support has been doing? Yeah. It's been preserving evidence and training so these war crimes, including sexual assault of young girls in front of their parents and grandparents by Russian soldiers, which is tens of thousands of young people being taken from their families, maybe never to come back and put in Russian families. Definite war crimes. We are supporting that, and you're cutting that support in the guise of reorganizing for the prosecutor to preserve the evidence and to move forward on these war crimes, these horrific, heinous war crimes that Russia is committing. So what I want to ask you, sir, this is under your purview.
No, sir,
you should be doing more.
No, sir, it's not.
Yes, it is,
No,
by
sir,
the way.
it's not. You do
Funding
not understand
the
what
prosecutor
our bureau-
general's
no, sir.
office is, by the way, I know everything's new to you.
No, it's not actually new to me, right?
You have funds to help train and move forward with the prosecution and help the prosecutor general in Ukraine.
If there is a specific program that you feel or that you know that
funded a legal advisor in the office.
I don't know about any
Well,
specific.
then you should know about it. With all due respect, I've got 8 seconds. Do your homework. Come back here.
Representative
Let's
Barr
deal
is
with
recognized.
Just heartbreaking, especially what he was describing about what Russian soldiers are doing to people as well. I just don't know how to respond to that. It's just absolutely insane. Have you heard about the movie, guys? I think it's time we need a bit of fun, guys. After that, because that was very on downbeat. Guys, if you haven't heard, there's already a movie out on the Iran war. Yes, this is true. The movie is already out on it. Well, I've got actually two funny videos for you guys, so we kind of need it to kind of end here. We've gone well over time again, and I apologize for going as late as I have, guys. But I hope you guys enjoy this funny video here called Iran War, the movie. And yes, it is made by AI, but you know, hey ho.
Sir, they're about to go nuclear. How long do we have? They're 2 weeks away. How 2 weeks away are they? Even more 2 weeks away than they were 5 years ago. My God! That's dangerous levels of 2 weeks away. I know. Son, if anything happens to me, continue my work. We're only 2 weeks away. I will continue, inshallah. Now I'll go to where no one can find me. My office on the 3rd floor, right by that really big window. Vengeance! Sir, if we attack, they will close the Strait of Hormuz. They don't have the balls to close the Strait of Hormuz. They just closed the Strait of Hormuz. And oil is now over $100 a barrel. Please keep me out of this. No one likes this war. And I want to be president one day. Come on, send a boat or something.
You're the most powerful military in the world. You send your own boats.
That was a test. Ha! You fell right into my trap. Sometimes the best reason for war is no reason at all.
Straight out of hormones. Oh, freaking hell. Yeah, that was made with AI, guys. That was made by artificial intelligence there. Let's play Fortnite 2 weeks away, says Mr. E. I've never played Fortnite, and I don't know if I ever will. Maybe one day I will. Of course, like I might. I wanted to end it with one of the greats, of course, and that is Chuck Norris. Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. And here are some top 5 best Chuck Norris moments here, guys, before we go. May he forever rest in peace. Well, he didn't rest in peace. He just said, I've had enough now. But anyways, Let's hear some of his best here, guys.
Hi, Dad. What are you doing? Just warming up. Oh, I see that. All right, you have fun. Sure will.
And I bent down and I petted him, and all of a sudden you hear this like that. So the trainer says, get up very slowly and back up. So the tiger did. He slowly got up and backed out.
Did you know I got bit by a king cobra? And after 5 days of agonizing pain, the cobra died.
Did you know that I can build a snowman out of rain?
I hear that when you do a push-up, you're not really pushing yourself up. You're pushing the earth down.
Correct. Absolutely.
It's all true, guys. It's all true. Chuck Norris did all these things, guys. It's absolutely true. It's not made up. It's absolutely true. It is all true indeed. I had that a lot. I always get too many clips for this show, but I'm always glad that I have too many because you never know how much to go through. To be fair, there, guys. So, unfortunately, we didn't hit today's super chat goal, but you know, you can't always get hit the targets. But I just want to say, obviously, thank you to everyone who gave super chats tonight. It was greatly appreciated. Thank you, Stephen Moore, very generous super chats as well. Let me just make sure I don't lose my mind. And thank you, Benjamin, as well, for the €2 as well. I'm glad I just went back just to double check who was the other person, so I'm not going mad. Thank you, everyone, for all your comments. Really appreciate it. I'm glad that there was a general discussion, a friendly discussion, debate with Mr. Sidious and Wendell Pagan on healthcare, which is I appreciate you guys having that discussion on Twitch. It's good to see some conversation going on Twitch, which is nice. So hopefully we'll get more people turning up on Twitch in the future. Like I said, I do plan to do an exclusive Twitch stream at some point in the future as well. Guys, just a reminder before we head out, I have a live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Good Morning Show live on both platforms. And then tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock, we have the Non-Politics live stream, where we're looking at films and movies again. I know people enjoyed that one. It's not going to be a serious live stream. It's going to be a casual, laid-back one. So enjoy it if you like. If you like talk about films and movies, and you can talk about them to your heart's content in the chats, feel free to come and join me tomorrow night in D, guys. Thank you, everyone, for come along as well. On your way out, if you're on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button and share it across social media. If you're on YouTube, please hit that like button. Share this across social media. Subscribe if you haven't already. Help me get over to the next mark, guys. I want to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And at the moment, it doesn't look like it's happening. So if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Do check that you're subscribed as well, because sometimes you end up getting unsubscribed for some reason. So just make sure you're definitely subscribed if you are watching this as well. And also do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. We also have a free Discord community that you can join as well. Unfortunately, guys, I will not be joining you on Discord tonight. I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm really sorry. But what I might do instead, actually, is tomorrow. I might do it tomorrow instead. I might do a Discord after chat tomorrow after the Non-Politics live stream when we talk about films and movies. We can take the discussion on there. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.